High noon, in front of Ueno Station. After I leave Senri's headquarters, I don't exactly feel like going straight to the Yukishiro. Instead, I wander around in the crowd in front of the station to ponder things over. The breeze has stopped, and gentle sunshine shines out through a gap in the clouds. However, a dark shadow lies over my heart, the product of what happened moments earlier.
She's dead.
Kohzuki Yura is dead? So it's not in the metaphorical sense, like Kohzuki Keiichiro said to me earlier? Yura's actually dead? The moment it was said, the confused expression of Shigasa Tokiko's face piqued my curiosity. That expression belies the fact that there was some element of truth in Her Holiness's words, and that they weren't just a random lie. And if that's the case, what on earth is happening inside that cult? A woman who visited the cult died. An accident during training, internal strife, abuse from one of the leaders. Hell, there are a million different scenarios I can come up with. Well then, there's another matter that requires thinking about. That accident 10 years ago involving Yura. The information I got from the madam this morning is full of holes. The fact that it involves a wealthy, influential Kohzuki family must have something to do with that. All the townspeople have clammed up. Her informant couldn't get anything other than bits and pieces of various rumors. I guess I've got to pay another visit to the Kohzuki family. And that makes me pause and think. Even if I visit them again, that arrogant bastard Keiichiro will probably just give me the runaround. It kind of rubs me the wrong way just thinking about it, but I guess it might be good if I bring someone along to help. Keiichiro has hidden the real goal of my investigation from Kazuna. And after hearing all the rumors about the Kohzuki family the madam has collected for me, I get the feeling Keiichiro is hiding a whole lot more. Alright. I'll get Kazuna to come with me to Zushi. Though Keiichiro's reaction upon seeing Kazuna may have the opposite effect. But the fact still remains, if I go alone, I doubt I'll get anything new out of him. I ring up Kazuna's home on the telephone. Luckily for me, Kazuna hasn't gone out anywhere. Apparently, she's still sleeping in her room.
Okay. We're going to my house in Zushi. Gotcha.
Looks like she's still half asleep. That Kazuna. She better not oversleep and miss the train. My anxiety level suddenly jumps up a notch.
Wow, what a trip down memory lane! We rode the train together like this the first time we met each other, right, Shugo-san?
Yeah, I guess. In the end, my needless worries are put to rest. Kazuna showed up full of energy, and we got on the train to Zushi. Apparently, Kazuna was still lounging around in her futon past noon because she was tuckered out from the grand premiere of her show. The next show's in 3 days, and she wasn't really sure what to do with all her free time. With that in mind, Kazuna happily accepted my invitation.
But we were going the opposite direction that day, since we were on our way to Tokyo. Wait a second. Come to think of it, Shugo-san, you watched my performance yesterday, right?
Kazuna blushes furiously as she poses the question. It was magnificent. Honestly, it changed how I look at you. I think I'm beginning to understand why you try so hard now. And that's my honest opinion.
Seriously? Cross your heart and hope to die? Was it really that good?
Come on, why would I lie to you? I throw on a wry grin as I think back on yesterday's performance. It was simply dazzling. It was a world I was completely disconnected from. When I saw her sparkling up on stage, I felt the tiniest bit jealous. She was full of passion, intently chasing her dream. The production was the result of those feelings. Kazuna standing majestically upon that stage. Kazuna bowing to the applause of a packed theater. When I think back on Kazuna's performance, I can feel admiration rising within.
Thank goodness.
She smiles at me happily. What, not gonna deny it today? Normally you'd say something like, "Oh no, I'm absolutely horrible."
Huh? Do I really act like that all the time?
Well, I've heard it a bunch of times at least.
Gosh, it sounds so embarrassing when you say it like that.
She waves her arms and legs around frantically, spewing a stream of nonsense. I guess Kazuna's never realized it herself.
You've got it completely wrong. My co-stars and all the staff worked really, really hard on this production, too. I knew I had to try my very hardest, so when I heard you say I did a good job, I kind of felt relieved.
I see. With the production being the success that it was, I'm sure the amount of money and people involved were off the charts. As carefree as Kazuna might look, there's no doubt she feels the enormous pressure of the expectations people place on her. There's no way I could even begin to fathom how the crushing weight of all that pressure must feel. You did a great job. I think your passion was conveyed to all the people watching.
Oh, stop it.
Kazuna giggles and scratches her head.
How embarrassing. Everyone praised me so much at yesterday's opening. I felt like the entire world had changed around me overnight.
She strikes a shy smile. But, opening? That word suddenly makes a rather unpleasant memory surface in my head. Come to think of it, Kazuna, there was that artistic director you were getting along really well with.
Are you referring to Akao-sensei?
Oh, was that his name?
Oh, what are you talking about? It'd be a waste for a magnificent man like him to be friends with a girl like me.
He did seem rather interested in you, Kazuna. In his case, I think I'd call it being overly familiar.
Huh? Seriously? Now that you mention it, Akao-sensei really praised my performance in the opener. Wow, I'm so happy.
I feel a surge of mixed feelings welling up within me when I see how innocently overjoyed she is. Wow, is this Akao-san really that distinguished?
Indeed he is. He's actually an amazing artist. He does paintings and sculptures and stuff. His range is quite broad. He's worked as the artistic director for many famous productions. A lot of people in my troupe are big fans. He's actually really well known all over the world.
Wow, I see. This man's almost like a creature from a different world. I can kind of understand why Kazuna's getting so worked up about him now.
Huh? Shugo-san, you're kind of frowning there.
Nah. I allow myself a derisive chuckle. I was just thinking that you'd be on even ground compared to a famous guy like that. Although it does make me feel kind of miserable to think that.
Shugo-san?
I expected Kazuna to be overjoyed and scream, "Oh my god, seriously?" or something to that effect. However...
Akao is certainly a wonderful man, but there's another guy I'd rather be with.
Huh?
Whoops! That just slipped out! Forget it. I didn't say anything. Wow, today's a pretty chilly one, too.
Right. I can feel my cheeks getting hot for some reason. We both end up looking downward in embarrassment. The awkward silence drags on for a short while until...
You know what?
Kazuna claps her hands together.
Why on earth did you suddenly want to come to Zushi, Shugo-san? You mentioned that it had something to do with my sister's case.
Yeah, I guess I haven't given you the full rundown. To tell the truth, I'm really reluctant to fill her in. The rumors surrounding the Kohzuki family, Keiichiro's deceit, and the secret that I'm keeping hidden from Kazuna. However, you're not going to be very happy to hear this. You'd better prepare yourself. I have no desire to keep deceiving Kazuna anymore.
Okay.
She nods, a doubtful look on her face. You probably left for Tokyo without knowing any of this. Of course, I'm referring to the fact that her sister was the root of the rumors surrounding the Kohzuki family. I haven't seen the Kohzuki's daughter lately. The rumors started spreading during the summer, 10 years back. The people living nearby thought it odd. Up until then, she had repeatedly disappeared for about a week at a time. It was common knowledge that the Kohzuki's sickly daughter would go to a sanitarium on the outskirts of town. She would stay there so that her health wouldn't deteriorate. Or so the people living there thought. However, at that time, a different rumor started to spread.
A different rumor?
Kazuna raptly listens to my story. There's no doubt that she hasn't been told this part of the story. Yeah. I nod and continue the tale. Right around the time when Keiichiro was getting his business off the ground, there were a lot of businessmen coming and going in and out of the place. A number of them encountered some rather strange events going on inside the mansion when they were there for business talks. There were mysterious noises coming from somewhere inside the mansion. It was a series of low, guttural, indescribable cries that sounded like a cross between a beast's roar and a woman's death throes. Whenever Keiichiro heard them, his mood would turn foul, and he'd call over his wife Ryoko and give her some commands. One time, a suspicious guest asked Keiichiro about it.
You know those strange noises we've been hearing? If you're keeping some manner of rare beast in here, I'd very much like to see it.
Keiichiro responded with a cross look on his face.
I have nothing of the sort here. It's just my daughter making a racket. Please ignore it.
Your daughter? But why is she screaming like that?
Something went wrong,
And after falling into a depressed silence, Keiichiro didn't say any more about his daughter. Now that I think about it, Yura was a rather odd girl to begin with. There were a lot of times when I'd catch her staring off into space by herself, muttering incomprehensible things. The neighbors would whisper amongst each other, "That Kohzuki girl's been possessed by a fox!" They figured she was locked away to hide that.
That's not true!
Kazuna cuts in sharply. Well, apparently people have always said the Kohzuki family had the blood of demons running in their veins. A bunch of family members were deranged due to that blood, and they ended up being sealed away, or so the rumors said. And perhaps Yura also.
That's a lie! I can't believe this! Why on earth would Father do such a horrible thing?
I can hear the pain in her voice. Kohzuki Keiichiro was extremely frightened of Yura's case becoming public knowledge. That's probably why he locked her away, used a guy like me, and tried to suppress the matter quietly.
He used you, Shugo-san?
I nod as Kazuna stares up at me in amazement. Yeah. This search for Yura I was hired for is pretty much just a sham. I inform a shocked Kazuna about Keiichiro's real plan. About how he didn't want Yura found in order to protect the family's good name. and how he wouldn't give in to Kazuna's desire to find her sister. Thus, he came up with the idea of hiring a detective like myself to run a false investigation in order to deceive Kazuna. Everything was a setup. After I finished the entire story, Kazuna's left looking downward, her expression a frozen mask.
I see,
She murmurs, a tormented look on her face.
I can definitely see Father saying something like that.
I'm sorry for not saying anything up until this point. She shakes her head quietly.
No, don't be. You didn't have a choice, right? It's not your fault, Shugo-san.
She looks down again, clearly upset. Kazuna. I sigh and avert my eyes. The snow's blowing strongly against the windows of the train. The frame clatters around as we chug along. I hadn't actually intended on doing so, but all things considered, I ended up deceiving Kazuna. My chest is gripped by a feeling that resembles guilt.
Shugo-san, may I ask you something?
Yes?
When we were searching for my sister together, was that all a lie too?
No, it wasn't. I was trying to look for Yura in my own way.
Why? That's weird, isn't it?
Why do you say that?
Because there was no need for you two. Wasn't the job you received from Father just to deceive me?
Yeah, but there's one more thing I've been hiding from Kazuna. Has her sharp mind caught on to that fact?
You should have just done whatever was necessary to fool me without going overboard, just as Father told you to do, right? So why did you actually take me along to go search for my sister? Doesn't that mean there's some kind of special reason behind it all?
I'm at a loss for words. Kazuna looks me straight in the eye.
I've been wondering about this the entire time. Every time someone says my sister's name, you get this pained look on your face.
I had no idea. There's no way I could have realized that on my own.
And then there was the first time we met. You were so surprised the moment you saw my face.
Really?
Please, tell me the truth. Did you know my sister, Takashiro-san?
Her gaze doesn't waver. She's still staring straight into my eyes. Yeah. I nod in affirmation. I don't want to lie to her anymore. You've hit the nail on the head. She gasped. I knew Kohzuki Yura 7 years ago. We were lovers.
But then that means you...
Kazuna's face steadily becomes distorted with emotion. Is that hatred I see? Scorn? Or perhaps anger? My relationship with her sister, the fact I hid everything from her. Hell, there's no end to the number of possible reasons. It looks like this spells the end of my peaceful, pleasant relationship with Kazuna. The thought alone makes my chest ache so bad it's practically laughable. Yeah. My feelings spur me on to do something I can never take back. Something that will twist her face in agony even more. I don't care if you hate me for what I've done. 7 years back, I had a relationship with Kohzuki Kazuna's twin sister, who had just barely begun blossoming into womanhood. In the village to which I had evacuated, inside that broken-down, ruined house that reeked of musty water. I made love to your sister more times than I can remember. Our train finally arrives at Zushi Station. This is the same path we walked down 10 days ago. We pull up our scarves as we walk down the snow-covered path, which is lined with short shrubbery. We trudge on in silence as the wind lifts up flurries of snow around us. This is for the best, I tell myself inside my head. It's ridiculous to think I could be attracted to Kazuna, considering the fact that I betrayed Yura 7 years ago. That's why this is really for the best. As I mull that over in my head, we approach the bend in the road that takes us to the Kohzuki estate. There's that familiar-looking bus stop. It's where I first met Kazuna 10 days ago. Hey, Kazuna. You stay the night at your folks' home. We're almost there, right?
Oh.
She turns to face me, pulling her eyes away from the ground.
What are you going to do then, Shugo-san?
She sounds a bit tense for some reason. Let's see. I'll look for lodging close by. I doubt I'll have any problems considering what time of year it is.
I see.
She nods repeatedly to herself. Kazuna's got this resolute glint in her eyes, almost as though she's decided upon something. Seeing how serious she seems is kind of overwhelming. Kazuna? She opens her mouth to speak.
May I ask you something? Were you nice to me because I looked like my sister?
I have no idea where she's going with this. The least I can do is give her an honest reply. That's not it at all. I was kind to you because I had so much fun being together with you, Kazuna. Kazuna's purity and her honest feelings. Those parts of her dazzled me above all else. And that's what was most dear to me.
Thank goodness.
She murmurs softly.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear. I'm not going back to my home tonight, Shugo-san. I'll go wherever you go.
She's full of confidence, just like how she was up on stage.
I place myself in your capable hands for tonight.
She bows deeply. Huh? My mind goes blank for a split second. The words that come out of her mouth are not what I was expecting to hear at all.
What's the matter, Shugo-san? There's an inn off in this direction. It's pretty chilly tonight, so we might as well go relax in the hot springs or something.
She takes me by the hand and starts to walk off. Hold it, Kazuna! Did you not hear anything I said earlier? I slept with your sister, you know?
So? What's that got to do with anything?
But... The straightforward manner in which she directs her question renders me speechless.
I mean, it caught me off guard. It made my heart ache a bit too. But all of that was in the past. My feelings for both of you haven't changed.
Kazuna...
Are you implying you still have feelings for my sister even now, Shugo-san? Man, that makes things kind of awkward.
No, that's not it. Hearing such a cheerful reply from her makes the words suddenly come tumbling out of my mouth. I might be the reason why Yura went mad. 7 years ago, when Yura asked me to save her, I betrayed her.
And that's why you helped me search for my sister? So you could apologize for what happened?
Well, is that why? I just don't know. I've asked myself that 1,000,000 times over, and I still don't know. But this feeling of guilt inside me, it's always been sitting at the bottom of my heart for these last 7 years. Kazuna flashes me a tender smile while I stand there bewildered.
I love you, Shugo-san. have one more reason for wanting to find my sister now. If you really want to apologize to her, then I'll help you out. With that as my goal, I feel like I can overcome anything if I just try hard enough.
She giggles in embarrassment. Kazuna, you're really... The words just won't come out. That's why I embrace her. Strongly, tightly. I'll never let her go again.
Shugo-san.
As she whispers my name, Kazuna gently slips her arms behind my back. I have no idea how long we stand there, embracing each other. When I raise my eyes, I suddenly find Nana standing right in front of me.
Let's start project.